YTs and Star Season was good with y'all, man. Back with another video today. So today we're gonna be talking about dealing with failure. Dealing with failure. So I would say the first thing with failure is identifying why do you fail, right? And then another thing is learning how to deal with it, pretty much. And this brings us to stressing when we don't know how to deal with failure. And that's what we are not taught in school is dealing with failure. One of my main examples is what brought me out of failure. Or not videos, but one of my favorite musicals is Hamilton. And I kid you not, I watched that over like 100 times. And the message it sends is pretty much dealing with failure. That's what I got out of it. Is dealing with failure. And failure will bring you to a negative vibration, a negative mindset. That's what I got. And to see that's the powerful thing. That's what I love so much about stories, because you can, and I've got multiple things from the musical, but that's one like the main things I got, and that's why I love stories so much, man. I love literature, and the Hamilton was magnificent, man. It was amazing. Like I basically would have to say that's like my favorite, if you could call it a movie. Yes, you can call it a movie. It was like 2 hours long, and it was captured on film. So that's my favorite movie of all time. Like because it we'll get to that later. So dealing with failure. Back to the example I was giving you about. So Aaron Burr and Hamilton was one of the two main characters in the musical, and Aaron Burr was the person, who always kind of seemed to fail at what he was trying to do, right? Because he always was waiting on the opportunity instead of asserting himself to catch the opportunity, right? But Hamilton, on the other hand, Hamilton asserted himself, so he created his own opportunities, right? And in the end, Burr got jealous of Hamilton because Burr didn't know how to assert himself to create his own opportunities. So he became envy of that. He became jealous of that. So basically, Burr really didn't know how to cope with failure. He thought that Hamilton was the reasons for his failure. Because he looked and he thought about it. He was like, well, every time I fail, this guy is in the equation. And he didn't realize that Hamilton was there to help him all along. Hamilton was there to show him how to deal with failure. And a way to deal with failure is to create your own opportunities, to assert yourself. All right. So, and Burr was not doing that in the musical. So that's like one of that's Hamilton is one of my examples of dealing with failure. Like another thing I got from is basically don't quit, especially on your dream. Don't, especially if you have a dream, don't throw away your chance by thinking negative. You know, shift your mind, shift your mindset to that thing that you want the most. You know, and just because you don't get it right away doesn't mean that it wasn't meant for you. Just because you fail, you just because you took a loss doesn't mean that it's a loss. You're supposed to take that as a lesson more than anything. Uh, yeah, just take it as a lesson. You take it as a lesson and keep going. Especially if it's something that you dream about, something that you're passionate about. Because trust me, you will start second guessing yourself. You will think that, well, maybe this is not the way, or maybe this is not what I'm supposed to do. It is. It is because you have been shown this way. You have been given this passion for a reason. You know, you have created this for yourself. And if you give up, you'll be giving up on yourself and the people that's counting on you. And as if, because a lot of people don't have people counting on them. So that's if you have somebody that's counting on you. But you can't worry about that because that has nothing to do with your dream or your passion. Right? So, in other words, that's how you deal with failure, man. You have to identify why the failures happen, and you have to identify why, you have to identify how can you change your situation. And you have to, if you have to, in my case, you have to read how others failed and how they pushed on. And a huge example is George Washington. George Washington, when he first was in command, when he had his biggest command, he failed. I don't remember this story in middle school. Maybe I was still asleep or whatever. And I'm pretty sure they don't have this story in the school system. George Washington failed. His very first command, he failed. Like, I ain't talking about no regular fail. Like, he lost people because of his leadership. Because he didn't know how to lead. He was even captured in one of the wars. I want to say it was the French and Indian War. I think that was it. Or it was a war of Quebec. I can't remember. I don't remember the war. And he failed. He had troops in his command, and all of his troops were killed, except for him. Now, if that ain't the biggest failure, I don't know what is. Yet, what did he become? The first president of this nation. Now, what should that tell you? He learned how to deal with fear. Well, I mean, with failure. He knew that wasn't his final destination because guess what? You didn't listen to what I said? His whole army was killed and he was captured. Captured. Not killed, captured. He knew that he was not done yet because guess what? He was still alive. That's what kept him pushing. That's what kept him going. That's what kept him motivated. He still was alive. And that's all it takes. Because nobody is perfect. Nobody is guaranteed a life here. So he kept on because he was still alive. That's how you deal with failure. If you're still alive, you still can go. That's how you deal with failure, bro. So if you fail at something, keep going. If you keep failing, identify why you failed and keep going. Don't ever stop. And that's just a part of life, failure. So don't beat yourself up about it. Don't be so down on yourself. Every person has failed. Now it's up to you. Now what makes people successful is learning how to rise from failure. Learn how to keep going. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it is hard. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. It is hard. And that's what separates the failures from successes. That's what separates the people that's in the same cycle from the people that's in new cycles. That's what separates a whole bunch of people. That's what separates you from the 1%. Is that they kept going. You think the 1% they never had failure? Think again. George Washington was 1% at his time. And he lost troops, even got captured in a war. We're not talking about on the same base. We're talking about actual war. Give you another example about George Washington. This is more iconic than that story that I never knew about George Washington. And you know how I learned about that? By reading. By reading that story. I done read that story multiple times in different books. States the same thing. It was about failure. About him keep going because he still was alive. In life, that's what pushes you. And the second example, the very iconic picture of him holding, it was an American flag with him and like 11 more troops on one boat sailing to the shore at night. So surprise attacking the enemy and burning the ships. So there's no way but to have victory. That was also George Washington. And you know why he did that? Because he already won in his mind. He already won. That is one of the number one rules of war, which made him a master of war. Already have your mind set that you won. That simple. Just have already in your mind that you won. I'm gonna say it one more time. He sailed to the shore with his troops. He told his troops to burn the boats so they would have no way of retreat. And they couldn't win until they couldn't go nowhere until they won. And guess what happened? They won. You know why? Because him as a leader already had in his mind that they won. By him telling them to burn them boats. And they ended up winning. So, that's all I have about failure. Dealing with failure. So with that being said, make sure y'all take care of your body, your mind, and your soul. Make sure y'all live every day like it's your last. Take every moment as an opportunity to become better. Alright, man, I'm out, y'all. Love. Peace.